In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to today's English lesson for the second intermediate grade, second semester. Our textbook is Full Blast 4, and today's lesson is going to be a revision of Unit 1 and 2. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to feel more comfortable about all content that you have studied and be confident about what you have learned, and also develop strategies for revision and preparation for the final exam. So these are the topics that we are going to go through in Module 1. We're going to go through some vocabulary in Lesson 1A, 1B, and 1C. And we are going to talk about the future going to and future will and must, have to, and conditional sentences type 1, and invitation emails. And in Module 2, we're going to talk about the present perfect simple and have been, have gone, and how long for since. Okay, so let's jump to Lesson 1A. Future going to is used with plans and actions that we intend to do in the future, and for predictions that are usually based on evidence. For example, I'm going to buy a new keyboard tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow is a time expression that indicates that this is going to happen in the future. Okay, tomorrow to be more specific. So I am going to buy. You notice the verb here, buy, is the base form of the verb. So going to takes the base form of the verb. Here's another example. Look at the laptop. It's going to shut down. So this is a prediction, okay? This is a prediction based on evidence. Also, going to takes the main form of the verb. So going to shut, going to buy, going to eat, and so on. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of the vocabulary here. So the word keyboard is one of the important words in Lesson 1A, and it means this. This is a keyboard, okay? And laptop is also an important word in Lesson 1A, and it means this. This is the evidence we talked about, okay? Laptop, keyboard. And there are more words in the word list on page 68 for Lesson 1A and all the other lessons. Okay, so now let's do a quick exercise for going to. So here's Ali's to-do list. Expand the list into sentences using going to, okay? We have buy new clothes, visit Fahad. All of this is happening next week, okay? So Ali is planning to do this next week. So we need to expand those into sentences. For example, if I have here play football, I would say Ali is going to play football next week. Okay, so to answer this one, it's going to look like this. Ali is going to buy new clothes next week. Okay, we are going to do the same thing with the second one. Okay, so we would say Ali is going to visit Fahad next week. Okay, now let's take a look at Lesson 1B, future will. Okay, future will is used for predictions that usually include the verb think or believe, spontaneous decisions that we make on the spot without planning, offers, threats, promises, and requests. Here are some examples. Let's take a look at the first example. We think many people will move to the countryside, okay? So based on the word or the verb think, we think. So this is a prediction based on the word think or believe. Okay, so we use will. And will also takes the base form of the verb. So no ing, no ed, no s, or anything else. Okay, so will move. Okay, will eat, will play, and so on. The second example is the negative form of the sentence. I will not do it again, I promise. Okay, or I won't do it again, I promise. So we can say will not, we can say won't. They are both correct. Okay, so based on the word promise, this is clearly a promise. Okay, So I will not do it again, or I won't do it again. And the question form, yes, no question, will comes at the beginning of the question. When we say it like this, will you let me eat my food, please? So this is clearly a request. Okay, so we use will. Will you let me eat my food, please? Okay, so we see here the base form of the verb, and here's also the base form of the verb. Okay, so you notice this word is underlined and this word is also underlined because they are important vocabulary in lesson 1b. Okay, and they can be also found on page 68. So the word countryside means small cities or small areas outside the city which has less population and more nature. Okay, and the word let, or the verb let, means to allow someone. So it can be, will you allow me to eat my food, please? So let means allow. Okay, so let's do a small exercise for future well. Complete the sentences with the future well of the verbs in brackets. These are the verbs in brackets. So we are going to use these verbs to complete the sentences using well. Okay, so like we mentioned before, that will takes the base form of the verb. No ed, no ing, no s or anything else. Okay, so carry will be used as is. No changes will be made on the word carry or the verb carry. So it should look like this: I will carry those bags for you. Okay, he blank to you ever again if you do that. So this is the negative form. Okay, so we can say he will not or he won't and use the verb in the base form. So it should look like this: he won't talk to you ever again if you do that, or he will not talk to you ever again if you do that. Both ways are correct. Number 3, I think you blank good marks in your exams. We use the word think, so this is a prediction. I think you will, and the base form of the verb get is also get, so I think you will get good marks in your exam. Okay, let's now jump to lesson 1c. And in lesson 1c, we're going to talk about must and have to. And we use must to express obligation, and we use must not to express prohibition, and we use have to express obligation as well, and we use not have to express the absence of obligation, so no obligation. Okay, let's take a look at some examples here. Okay, example on how to use must. You must recycle some items in your trash. So you are obligated to recycle. And the second one, must not. You must not throw batteries in the trash can. Must not or mustn't, both pronunciation are correct. So it's not allowed to throw batteries. Okay, so this is actually a warning that usually comes on batteries. It says you must not throw batteries in the trash can. Have to, you have to wash your hands with soap. So you are obligated to wash your hands with soap. So here's a little twist in have to. Have to can be also used for the pronoun he, she, or it, and when we use he, she, it, we need to change have to has to. And here's an example: he has to wash with soap. So this is in the present. And in the past, for all pronouns, I can say he had to wash with soap, we had to wash with soap, they had to wash with soap, and so on. Not have to, that means not obligated to. And here's an example: you do not have to turn off the light, you can keep them on. You don't have to turn off the light. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the important vocabulary on lesson 1c. Here you have the word recycle, and this is the meaning for the word recycle. You notice this logo is for recycling, to use something many times or to put it in the appropriate trash can. And the second word is the word battery. Here it is. Yeah, here is a picture of some batteries. This is the meaning of the word battery or batteries. The second one, soap. Here's the soap. Here's a picture of two types of soap, the liquid soap and the bar of soap. And the last one is the word or the verb turn off. It means this, to switch off. Okay, to switch off or turn off. Alright, now let's do a quick exercise on must and have to. And here it says fill in the blanks with must, mustn't, have to, and not have to. Number 1, you blank drive fast. It's dangerous. Okay, so driving fast is dangerous, so you shouldn't do this. So we need to use something that express prohibition, okay? So we say, can we say must? No. Can we say mustn't or must not? So of course, so we say you must not drive fast, it's dangerous. Number 2, he blank study hard for the exam. It's going to be difficult. So the exam is going to be difficult. Study hard for the exam. Do you think he's obligated to do this? If he doesn't, he will fail the exam. So he must. Okay, so the answer is he must study hard for the exam. Number 3, you blank take a taxi. I will drive you. Okay, so he's not obligated to take a taxi, but he can take a taxi if he wants to. Okay, because someone is offering him a free ride, so he can use this, or he can take a taxi. But he's not obligated to take a taxi, so we say you don't have to, okay? You don't have to take a taxi, I will drive. Number 4, we blank to stay inside. It's cold outside. Okay, so we have here 2. If I wanted to use must, we must to is not correct, okay? So we need to use something else. Okay, the answer is we have to stay inside. It's cold outside. Alright, now let's do lesson 1D. Conditional sentences type 1. And we use conditional sentences type 1 for future possibilities, okay? Things that may happen because of something else. And here what it looks like. So a conditional sentence type 1 has an if clause, comma, then main clause, okay? Sometimes it can be the other way around. It can be main clause and if clause, but we get rid of the comma. The if clause has if plus present simple. It has to be a present simple here, comma, plus the main clause, which could be a future will or modal verb, can, must, may, and so on, or imperative. And here's an example. Pay good attention to the formula here and the sentence. If, present simple, if Tom plays video games, okay, the S here is because of the present simple, comma, plus future will. If Tom plays video games, his mom will get angry. Okay, so this is what's going to happen if this happened. Okay, so this is a future possibility. This could happen, or a modal verb. He may waste a lot of time. So this is another possibility. If Tom plays video games, he may waste a lot of time. Or tell his dad. If Tom plays video games, tell his dad. So this is what conditional sentences type 1 look like. Okay, now let's take a quick exercise on conditional sentences type 1. Use conditional sentences type 1 to rephrase the following sentences. Okay, you need to rewrite those sentences using conditional sentences type 1. Okay, so we need an if clause and a main clause, and here we also need if clause, main clause, all the other way around, main clause and if clause. Number 1, don't write on the desk, the teacher will be angry. Okay, so this is what will happen if you write on the desk. So the first part of the sentence is, if you write on the desk, what will happen, comma, the teacher will be angry. So it looks like this. If you write on the desk, the teacher will be angry. Number 2 is going to be the same thing. Are you cold? Take a jacket. Okay, so take a jacket if you are feeling cold, okay? So if you are cold, take a jacket. And I could also say, take a jacket if you are cold. Okay, but if you notice here, we got rid of the comma. We can't use the comma here because the main clause is at the beginning of the sentence. And also here we can use the same form here. So it looks like this. The teacher will be angry if you write on the desk. Alright, now let's go to lesson 1E, and this is how to write an invitation email. Okay, an invitation email must include the following: greeting, opening paragraph, main part, closing paragraph, signing off, and signature. And here how it looks like. So here's an example. This is a greeting, dear Freddy, and the opening paragraph should look similar to this. How's life? I'm writing to invite you to my cup, and so on. So this is the opening paragraph, and the main part is like this. I'm going to put the TV in my back garden, so hopefully the weather will be okay. So here the writer is giving a lot of details about the invitation. So this is the main part, and next comes the closing paragraph, and it looks something similar to this. And anyway, the match starts at 3 p.m. Here the writer is going straight to the point, and here's the actual invitation. Okay, after that comes the signing off. Bye for now, or see you tomorrow, see you next week, have a nice day, and so on. And the last part of the invitation is the signature. Okay, so the signature is just to write your first name. Okay, now let's go to the first lesson in module 2, lesson 2A. And in this lesson we're going to talk about the present perfect simple. The present perfect simple is used to express past events without saying when exactly. Okay, so we don't need to say when. We can also use the present perfect simple to express past events with the results obvious in the present. Okay, so we can see the results in the meantime, but the action itself happened in the past. So it should look like this. Okay, this is how the present perfect simple look like. So it contains subject plus have or has plus past participle. Okay, so here have or has, when to use have and when to use has. This is based on the subject. If the subject is I, you, we, they, we say have. Okay, if the subject is he, she, it, we say has. I have seen, he has seen, she has seen, and so on. The past participle is the third column of the irregular verbs on page 70. Okay, so on page 70 you will find a list of irregular verbs, and the third column is the past participle. And here's an example. Bill has broken his arm. Okay, so this is something that happened in the past, but the results are obvious in the present. Okay, and we didn't say when exactly. So Bill has broken his arm. So Bill is a he, and we use has because the subject is he, and this is the past participle of the verb break. So break, broke, broken. So Bill has broken his arm. Okay, so this verb seen and also this verb broken can be found on page 70, so they need to be memorized. Now let's do a quick exercise on the present perfect simple. Complete the sentences with the present perfect simple of the verbs in brackets. So these are the verbs in brackets, and we need to fill in the blanks using them. Okay, so he blank to Africa many times. Okay, so he, can I say he has or he have? Okay, he has, very good. So he has, and the past participle of the verb travel, it's not on page 70, so we just add ed, okay? So he has traveled to Africa many times. Number 2 is the negative form. Okay, they blank each other before, and the verb is meet. The past participle of the verb meet is, you can take a look at page 70. The past participle of the verb meet is met. In the affirmative form, I can say they have or they has. What do you think? Alright, so it's they have met each other before, but here it's asking for the negative form, so we can say they haven't met each other before. So here's an answer. Haven't met. Number 3, I blank to Paris. Okay, not be. Okay, so here is at number 3, the sentence is stating that someone has never been to Paris. He never visited Paris before. So we can say the past participle of the verb be is been. Okay, so be, the past participle is been. I blank been to Paris. So we use I have or I has. I have, and it's in the negative form, so we say I haven't been to Paris. So here's the answer. Alright, good. So now let's go to listen 2B. So in lesson 2B, we're going to discuss have been and have gone. It's also in the present perfect simple. Okay, so have or has been means when I say he has been, that he has already returned. Okay, he went and he returned. But when I say he has gone, so he went but he hasn't returned yet. Okay, so he's still there. Here's an example. Ali has been to Egypt 3 times. So he has been to Egypt 3 times. He goes to Egypt and comes back. Goes to Egypt and comes back 3 times. Okay, so he's back. He has returned. Ali has been. So has been means he went and then he came back. And the other one, have or has gone. Here's an example. Ali has gone to the airport. So this indicates that he's still in the airport. He hasn't made it back yet. So Ali has gone to the airport. Alright, let's do a quick exercise on have been and has been and have gone and has gone. Complete the sentences with have, has been, or have, has gone in the following. So number 1, he blank to the mall and he's still there. So this is a clear giveaway, still there. Okay, he is still there. So we use gone or been. What do you think? Okay, we use gone because he is still there. He hasn't made it back yet. So can I say he has been, he has gone, or he have gone? Which one is correct? Okay, so he has, very good. So he has gone. So there's the answer for you. So he has gone to the mall and he's still there. Number 2, they blank to the mall and now they're back. Okay, they made it back. So we use, in this case, been. Okay, so they blank been to the mall. So they have been or they has been. What do you think? Have, very good. So they have been to the mall and they're back. Alright, nice. So let's do lesson 2C. And this is going to be the last lesson for today's revision. And we're going to talk about how long for since. Also in the present perfect simple. So we use how long to ask about the duration. Okay. And we use for to refer to duration. And we use since to refer when the action started. So we specify the time in this case. Okay. And here are some examples for you. So when I ask someone about the duration using how long, this is what it should look like. How long have you been a teacher? Okay. So to refer to the duration, I can answer this question and say, I have been a teacher for 8 years. Okay, so I state a duration. The duration is 8 years. I have been a teacher for 8 years. And when I want to state when the action has started, when I started becoming a teacher, here's how I say it. I've been a teacher since 2012. Okay, I've been a teacher since 2012. So I state the exact time when in the past. Okay, I've been a teacher since 2012. Okay, now let's do a quick exercise on how long for since. Choose A, B, or C. So this is also all based on the meaning. Number one, I have known Tom blank 10 years. Okay, let's try each one of these choices. Okay, I have known Tom how long? 10 years, or I have known Tom since 10 years, or I have known Tom for 10 years. What do you think? So when we state a duration, 10 years, the answer is C, 4. I have known Tom for 10 years. I can't say since because I didn't mention when exactly. Okay. Number two, blank has he been in Saudi Arabia? So can I say how long has he been, or since has he been, or for has he been? So this is very obvious. The answer is A because it's a question. So number two, how long has he been in Saudi Arabia? Number three, my dad has owned this car blank 1967. So this is a year, okay? So this is the exact time is mentioned. So can I say my dad has owned this car how long? 1967, or my dad has owned this car since 1967, or my dad has owned this car for 1967. So how long is not correct, and for is not correct because there's nothing after the number. We can't say 1967 days, for example. So the answer clearly is B, since 1967, since the year 1967. All right, nice. Now let's summarize what we have just studied. So in this revision, we went through module 1, and in module 1 we have studied the future tense, must, have to, conditional sentences type 1. Okay, so the future tense includes going to with the base form of the verb, well with the base form of the verb, and conditional sentences are also related to the future tense because they use future well. Okay, so the F clause and the main clause sometimes can be future well. So you see how they are connected to each other. Okay, and in module 2 we went through the present perfect simple, and the present perfect simple has so many parts, like for example have, has been, has gone. All of those are related to the present perfect simple, and how long, for, since is also related to the present perfect simple. So if you master the present perfect simple, these two should not be an issue for you. Okay, so before we end this lesson, we need to take a look at the word list on page 68. This is very important, okay, if you want to go and revise all the vocabulary for unit 1 and 2. And also the list of irregular verbs are also available on page 70. So these two need to be memorized by heart, okay? So, and the grammar reference, you can go to page 63 and you can find all the grammar rules used in this book. Okay, so that's all the time we have for today's lesson. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.